Hi everybody, I am going to talk about the challenges in families. Families are the units consisting of different individuals formed as one unit. The uniqueness of individuals and their differences are bound to create problems with one another, the closeness of family or with the society. But at the same time, it is imperative to make efforts to understand, analyze, and solve problems for building up relationships and strengthening the family ties. Events like divorce and remarriage present new difficulties for individuals and families. Other long-standing domestic issues such as marital conflicts and the abuse of women continue to strain the health and stability of families today. Families face many challenges more than ever due to the emerging changes in the society. At the end of this talk, you will know the various challenges of families, understand the reasons for the challenges, know the consequences of the challenges, and gain an insight in the handling of these challenges. Let me discuss the current challenges in families and begin with separation. Separation is one of the emerging problems in Indian families. It is often considered as a prelude to divorce. Unlike in the past decades, now more Indian women are opting for separation. The reasons can be varied from simple to complex. The rate of separation is no doubt at an increase. The separation in the past was a rare phenomenon and was mainly due to the chronic illness or for some unavoidable reasons. The women were forced to stay in the marital house, tolerating all kinds of chauvinistic behavior of their husband. No matter how unhappy the woman was in the marriage, due to financial constraints, she would stick around in her husband's home and not step out. The women were forced to accept the deviant behavior of the husband, abuses at home, and all sorts of violent behavior. However cruel the husband behaved, the woman was expected to serve him as a dutiful wife. Earlier, feudalistic societal norms had hardly any room for separation or a platform to register the voices of the affected women. Financial dependency and societal stigma restricted women from physical separation even if they were disconnected or separated in their minds. Let me discuss the reasons for separation. The major reasons for separation today include the desire to be independent, getting attracted to another person, infidelity, physical incompatibility, reduced interest in sexual activities or sexual incompatibility, conflicting tastes and desires between the husband and wife, constant nagging, comparing one's partner with another person always, imparting unsolicited advice all the time, frequent quarrel and violent behavior, and addiction to alcohol or substance abuse. The financial independence that women have achieved has brought in a change in their attitude. Women, by and large, feel that their individuality must be respected and should not be interfered with. Their economic dependence on men is much less or non-existent compared to olden days when women stayed at home. Today, a woman does not stay in a marriage if she is unhappy. The rules of marriage have changed and parents have made their daughters independent and self-sufficient. The awareness among women about their rights, educational background, fairly good level of self-esteem and confidence, and the support they get from their parental home, friends, and women's organizations make them react to intolerable behavior. In today's context, separation is seen as a temporary remedy by couples facing some form of conflict within. Let me now outline the implications of separation for women. Separation has different implications on women of different caliber. Separation for financially dependent women means that she has to look out for other means of survival. A separated woman in most of the cases goes to her parental home, and the initial acceptance may not sustain for a longer period if the woman is considered to be a liability by the members of her own parental home. She may not be involved in any of the decision-making process, and she and her children will have to live at the mercy of others. The semi-skilled and educated women, though initially depend on her parental home, later learn to stand on their own legs, upgrade their skills, and enroll for jobs. For most of the career-oriented women, separation is a prelude to divorce. They are not financially dependent on anyone and can therefore lead independent lives. In some cases, economic independence may be there without social or parental acceptance of the problem of separation. The financial independence achieved by women has brought in a change in their attitude. They feel that their individuality must be respected. Further, the separate careers result in men and women working in different places, thus increasing not only the physical distance but also the mental distance. This invariably leads to separation. All these causes, either singly or in combination, end up in the couple breaking up. The stress and anxiety related to separation is crucial, and it affects the spouse's interpersonal relationship in the family. For example, the pain of separation between the husband and wife does not stop with them, but enters into the relationship of the father with the child or mother with the child. Very often, anxiety of the separated partner is high about the children of all ages. Couples may make use of the period of separation by seeking external help to look at their marital life in a different perspective and try to reconcile with the marital life if it resolves the conflict. The period of separation can be also utilized by men who are genuine and open to correct their mistakes and restart their life. During separation, in many instances, the children are with their mother, and their inability in the initial stage to come to terms with the reality leads to great stress and strain. Whatever may be the reason, when a separation takes place, of all the members in the family, especially the children are the most affected. Let me now discuss about divorce. Divorce is considered as a final breakup or conclusion of a marriage between the legally wedded couples. Through this procedure, the couples are legally separated and expected to abide by the court rules. The court decides the settlement procedures with regard to children's future and custody, assets, maintenance, and so on. Through the divorce, the court nullifies the legal duties and responsibilities of couples towards each other so as the matrimonial bond. In many countries, divorce requires the sanction of a judge or other authority in a legal process. Divorce laws vary considerably around the world. Divorce is not permitted in some countries, such as in Malta and in the Philippines, though an annulment is permitted. Though inability of two individuals to live together as couples has been a common problem, the Indian society earlier looked at it as a word that would only be whispered and was accompanied by gestures of disapproval. The acceptance of divorce came much later to the liberalization of laws on divorce and the shedding of misconceptions and stigma on divorce on the part of the society. Today, divorce is getting wider social acceptance, not only in metros but also in rural areas. However, taking to legal remedies are confined mostly to the cities. And in rural areas, the caste panchayats play a major role in matters of divorce. Though India is considered as one of the countries with low rate of divorce, it is increasing at an alarming rate. This is an unusual trend in a country where the divorce rate was just 1 in 1,000 10 years ago and is still a relatively low 13 per 1,000 as compared to the US average of 500 per 1,000. Let me mention about the reasons for divorce. The common reasons for the increasing trend of divorce are the diminishing influence of the family and joint family, the growing psychological and financial independence of women to walk away from abusive relationships, late marriages resulting in a greater reluctance to compromise or change set ways of lifestyles, and so on, greater acceptance of divorce and also gradual acceptance of divorced daughters by families, particularly in urban areas, the change of attitude of people, particularly the young, towards marriage, the anonymity of big cities that helps to avoid the glare of judgmental friends and relatives, and loneliness for the non-working partner, especially in nuclear families, compounded by moving away from familiar environment that can result in estrangement, extramarital affairs, and ultimately in divorce. Let me discuss about the love beyond marriage. The cultural expectation is that the couples are eligible for love and relationship within the framework of marriage. When someone enters into love beyond marriage, they break the cultural norm of marriage. This is also named as extramarital affairs, which means that it violates the institutional right and functions of family and deceives the other partner. The violators may identify a number of reasons. Unlike the past, the force of neoliberal development demands women's entry into workforce and working together with men has become quite common. However, the perception of men about women as commodities or objects of pleasure has not changed much among the majority of the male workforce. This often ends up with the sexual advances and sometimes as love beyond marriage. The unwritten societal acceptance of male domination also silently allows a love beyond relationship of men. This is again considered as a sanction for continuation of such a relationship by forgetting the victimization of women at home. Let me mention about the live-in relationship. The new economic upsurge and the exposure to different cultures have paved the way for a new trend of live-in relationship by young couples. This trend is a challenge to the institution of family. The couples do not enter into any legal commitment. They are free to break the relationship any point of time and resume it with the same partner or other partner of their choice. There are cases where the couples do not opt for having children. Though initially the relationship may begin in partnership, later on the subordination of women is seen in this relationship also. In India, the state has accepted such a relationship through the Apex Court, which has formulated some guidelines relating to live-in relationship. Let me discuss about alcoholism or drug abuse. Alcoholism or drug abuse is a progressive disease which affects the entire family and becomes a permanent challenge to the family. Alcoholism dismantles the relationship among the members. Financial problems and social stigma alienate the family from the mainstream of the society. The persons who are addicted to alcohol or drug abuse are very likely to suffer from serious health problems. The alcohol or drug develops character defects and they continue to behave in such a way that everyone in the family is affected. Managing the day-to-day tantrums of the alcoholic is also a Herculean task. Alcoholism or drug abuse creates negative impacts on the children in the family. Children, especially the male children, may pick up the habit of drinking from the adult members and their education gets affected. If a person in a family is affected by any sort of addiction, the entire family has to pay for it, which means the mental peace of everyone in the family is affected. In most cases, the addicts may discontinue their education or job and become a burden to the family. Their violent behavior also poses a threat to the economic stability, emotional well-being, and social relationship of the family. Chronic illness is another challenge which families have to face. Chronic disease is a long-lasting condition that can be controlled but not cured. Chronic illness affects the population worldwide. Data from the World Health Organization show that chronic disease is also the major cause of premature death around the world. If a person in a family is affected with chronic illness, chances are more for the person to get affected by depression. The depression often aggravates the disease, and it may curtail the mobility of the person and may appear more dependent and sometimes behave very rudely. Now, managing the sick person is a challenge to the entire family. This sickness and the behavior of one of the members affect the others. The sick person needs regular care. The entire family is involved in providing care and treatment to the sick person. The sickness not only needs the physical presence of the members, it also needs greater financial resources of the family. The challenge of the family includes the management of the additional responsibility in terms of financial management, allotment of human resource for caregiving, and showing progress in the recovery process. Let me tell you about the challenge of providing security for young girls. Today, one of the most important challenges for family is the safety and security of the girl children. The insecure atmosphere that prevails due to the decayed social norms and practices do not offer physical and mental safety to girls. Frequent incidents of sexual abuse, trafficking, molestation, acid attack for refusal of any amorous advances, and other kinds of abuses on girls create fear psychosis in the minds of parents about the security of their daughters. This fear often makes them to control and restrict the girl's mobility beyond a point. There are instances where parents have stopped the education of their daughters for fear of safety, particularly in the rural areas. Many girls are married off at an early age to avoid any such problem of victimization. Let me tell you about parenting as a challenge. In every stage of family life, parenting is a challenge in family. When the couples have children, they are responsible for bringing up the child with all good virtues, care, nutritious food, education, exposure, and experience to face the reality of the world. When the children are small, the parents take extreme care in the physical well-being and give medical care for the child. The parents are also careful in providing a conducive atmosphere for the growth of their children. As a child grows up, the responsibility of the parents also increases in educating the child with appropriate behavioral practices and value education. Parents in general find upbringing of their children very challenging at every stage of life. They need appropriate skills in dealing with their children. When the children are in their teen age, the parents come under great stress and strain as the children tend to be rebellious, disobedient, and independent. Parents, by and large, experience anxiety about the infatuations of their children, their poor academic performance, picking up fights with other children, getting into wrong friendship, usage of internet and mobile phones, and so on. They need to express concern and interest towards their children and empower their adolescent children to seek appropriate kind of help when necessary, to make good choices and to learn from experience. Let me now mention about the conflicts and abuses at family. Families are prone to have conflicts which may be either internal or external. These conflicts are derived from the misunderstandings, difference of opinions, ego clashes, and from the attitudinal problem of either one member or more members in the family. As a result, the conflicts lead to physical abuse, mental and sexual abuses frequently. Abuses in families are the most common, and domestic violence is rampant. Women are also abused sexually in some cases by the blood relations in addition to physical abuses. Conflicts between the family members sometimes become unmanageable and do not come to any solution. The personality traits and the attitudinal problem of the members place a lot of stress on all the others in the family. I would like to tell you about the death and bereavement in a family. The sudden death of a member in the family poses a severe challenge, particularly if the deceased member is a breadwinner. The families are grief-stricken and are emotionally down. Some families may find it extremely difficult to manage their routine daily life and maintain social relationship. Though death of one of the members has occurred, life for the other members has to move on, and therefore they have to face the challenges before them. First and foremost, the members of the family need to accept the loss of one of them and learn to enhance their socio-economic skills. The family needs, however, social support and guidance in order to be part of the mainstream of the society and continue to live meaningfully. Let me sum up. Families face challenges such as economic instability, alcoholism or drug abuse of parents or children, chronic illness of family members, death and bereavement, conflict, gender violence, security of girl child, and so on. Separation is one of the emerging problems in Indian families. It is often considered as a prelude to divorce. Unlike in the past decades, now more Indian women are opting for separation. Divorce is considered as a final breakup or conclusion of a marriage between the legally wedded couples. Through this procedure, the couples are legally separated and expected to abide by the court rules. When someone enters into love beyond marriage, they break the cultural norm of marriage. This is also named as extramarital affairs, which means that it violates the institutional rights and functions of family and deceased partner. The new economic upsurge and the exposure to different cultures have paved the way for a new trend of live-in relationship by young couples. This trend is a challenge to the institution of family. Alcoholism or drug abuse is a progressive disease which affects the entire family and becomes a permanent challenge to the family. If a person in a family is affected with a chronic illness, chances are more for the person to get affected by depression. In such situations, managing the sick person is a challenge to the family. Frequent incidents of sexual abuse, trafficking, molestation, acid attack for refusal of any amorous advances, and other kinds of abuses on girls create fear psychosis in the minds of parents about the security of their daughters. Parents, in general, find upbringing of their children very challenging at every stage of life. They need appropriate skills in dealing with their children. Families are prone to have conflicts which may be either internal or external. These conflicts are derived from the misunderstandings, difference of opinions, ego clashes, and from the attitudinal problem of either one member or more members in the family. The sudden death of a member in the family poses severe challenge, particularly if the member is a breadwinner. The families are grief-stricken and are emotionally down. Let me sign off now and hope to see you in another session. Thank you.